This looks like a job for Superman.
Hey everybody, Tony here, or as you may know me, Rez the Collector, with another action figure review. And we're taking a look today at the 75 Years of Superpower Superman from the DC Universe Classics line, put out by Mattel. Here is his card. As you can see, it's a little different from their standard DCUC card. It's got a lot more characters on it. I held on to this just for the review. And let's take a look at the back of the card. It's got collect all 7 of the DC Comic All-Star characters, and these came with a collector's button. The button that came with this one was basically Clark Kent ripping open his shirt with the S symbol underneath. And I've got that put away in the display case. I'm not going to pull that out. Basically what we have here is just a little write-up on the Biography of Superman. I'm not going to go ahead and read this. If you'd like to take a look at it, please feel free to pause and read it. Pretty much we all know the origin of Superman, though. And then again, just some statistics on him. And a very nice picture of the figure itself. Let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. Now I got this guy, my wife and I took a little trip into a place that's called Galena here in Illinois. If you've ever heard or been to Wisconsin Dells or Niagara Falls, it's very similar to that. It's a very touristy little town with a lot of little stores in it, and they opened up a collectibles shop. Cool little store, a lot of great stuff in there. 2 levels, top levels, like people like estate sales and things like that. People selling off their collection, so a lot of classic things in there. But I found this guy on the main level with the rest of the DC stuff for $15, and I was ecstatic to get him because I needed this Superman. I do have another Mattel Superman. I have the S3 sculpt, which is this gentleman here, who is an extremely cool figure. I really love both of these. My only wish is that his legs were like his. And I know that a lot of people have modded this figure to have these legs, or I'm sorry, this figure to have these legs, so that we got a better standing with the S3 sculpt. It's not something that I will be doing, because I want to keep these figures as they were originally. But you can definitely see the way that Mattel went. I believe this was first. This was the original, the Select sculpt, and then it went to a newer sculpt, and it definitely has a different body buck. I can tell that just by looking at it. Different face sculpts. Even the belt is wider on the new one, and the main difference is those legs come down a lot straighter, and the S is more of just a simple kind of the generic Superman S, whereas the S3 sculpt is very stylized and a little bit sloppy looking. Well, not exactly sloppy looking, but just not as straight lined as the other one. And I kind of like that to an extent, that it's kind of its own thing instead of being just the standard S. But of course, anytime I get a figure with an S on it is a great day. So like I said, I got this figure for $15. He was mint in package, and I did, of course, I opened him up. There was no resisting that. I did that almost immediately when I got home. Because I had to have him in hand. I had to get him in so I could display him in the case. And there are some figures that I don't open. That same day I got a Batman figure from the same line. And if you can hear that, he's sitting next to me hanging on the wall. He's still in package. But I definitely had to open up this Superman. Now, just in taking a look at him, he has a very nice head sculpt. Now, I do prefer the head sculpt on the S3 figure, but it is a good head sculpt. It is very, even if you saw nothing here, when you looked at this, you'd still know that's Superman. The head sculpt is, the S3 is a little more angular. This is a little more rounded out. And definitely different capes on here. This one is a lighter cape. What I do love about this, though, is it does have the yellow S, and that is, of course, just a sticker on here. But anytime I get a yellow S on a figure, I am a happy guy. We do have a decent range of motion on here. That's about as far down as he's going to get. Very good up. Of course, side to side, because that is just a ball joint on there. For the rest of the articulation, it is pretty standard Mattel articulation. He's got ball jointed shoulders, swivel at the bicep, bend at the elbow, and swivel at the wrist. He's also got the standard Mattel ab crunch. He's got a rotation at the waist. He's got the standard Mattel T-jointed legs, so we can go all the way out and do the splits. We can go backwards to about there, because this is kind of a hard rubber cape, so that's blocking that. But then, of course, we can come forward a very nice distance. Of course, we have a rotation here at mid-thigh. We've got the knee, and we have a very tight ankle rocker there, so I'm happy that that's nice and tight. Now, overall impressions, like I said, when I walked into the shop, I immediately found the figure area, and of course, my eyes are pretty much instantaneously going to find anything with an S on it. And actually, the first thing I saw in that shop was the new 52 Superboy, and the worst paint QC I've ever seen on any DC Collectibles figure, and definitely on any Superboy that we've seen thus far in reviews. He had flesh tone paint all over his S. The S was, I mean, even if you took the flesh tone away, the S was just jacked completely. The whole figure was just god-awful. It was like somebody just dipped their fingers in the appropriate paints and just like flicked it at the figure and hoped everything kind of landed where it should be, and it didn't. It was god-awful. I can't believe that left the shop. I mean, did nobody see, I mean, the factory, did nobody see that thing before they placed it in a box? I mean, I realize that they have to let some things go. You have to get product out. But somebody had to have seen that and been like, oh, wow. I mean, if that had gone to like an online realtor or somebody selling it off eBay, that's one thing. But this was just sitting in a collectible shop for anybody to walk in and look and go, wow, that's terrible. A little off track, as usual, but that was the first thing I spotted. The second thing I spotted was, of course, this guy, and I immediately had him in my hand. I was like, yes, got him. Had to resist the urge to open him in the car, because it's like an hour drive away. And the whole time I'm like sitting and like, I want to open the figure. But he's a great figure. I, of course, recommend any and every Superman figure to a collector out there. Every figure in my collection is loved. Every figure in my collection I'm proud to own. There are a few that are kind of fugly. I ain't going to lie about that. But I would still buy them again. And I think that's what it comes down to is, you know, would you still buy the figure if you had to again? And the answer is yes. Even some of the fugglier figures, I would still pick them up. Because they are a Superman figure and they belong in my collection. Just like I know there's probably a lot of you out there who you've gotten that figure because it's Superman, but it might be shifted to the back just a little bit. Just a little. But I want to thank you guys for sticking with me. Let's take a good 360 here of this figure. I do still have a rotating display base in my cart on Amazon. Well, it's in the saved for later portion, and I will buy it eventually. I just have to justify buying that instead of a figure. And who wants to buy that instead of a figure? Well, me at some point. But it's a hard decision to make. It's terrible. It's difficult. I don't know. But there we go, guys. Nice 360 on this guy. Lovely yellow S on the back. Great paint job on him. Wonderful QC. Very happy with this figure. Of course, this is Tony, or Rez the Collector. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. And you guys have a nice day.